Black female CEO mocked by white billionaire heirs, but she turns the tables and ends their legacy. What happens when the weight of prejudice crashes against an unbreakable spirit? In the heart of New York's financial district, Amara Coleman stood at the pinnacle of her career, the first black woman to lead Zenith Enterprises as CEO. Her rise was a testament to grit born in a struggling neighborhood. She clawed her way through Ivy League halls and corporate battlegrounds, earning every accolade with sweat and sacrifice. Yet, in the gleaming boardroom of Zenith's headquarters, she faced a storm she hadn't anticipated. The venomous scorn of the Wentworth heirs, billionaire brothers whose family once owned the company and now sought to reclaim it. The Wentworths, Ethan and Caleb, were relics of old money, their privilege as unearned as their sneers. They saw Amara as an intruder, a symbol of change they despised. At a critical shareholder meeting, with Zenith's future hanging by a thread, they unleashed their attack. Ethan, the elder, leaned back in his chair, his voice dripping with condescension. "You're out of your depth, Ms. Coleman," he said, smirking. "This company needs legacy, not diversity experiments." Caleb chuckled, tossing a mocking glance at the board members, expecting their allegiance. The room fell silent, the air thick with tension. Amara's heart pounded, but her face remained a mask of steel. She'd faced this before: whispers of doubt, sidelong glances, the subtle sting of being underestimated. But this was different. This was public, calculated, a direct challenge to her authority. The brothers had orchestrated a takeover bid, leveraging their wealth and connections to sway shareholders. They painted Amara as a token hire, unqualified, a risk to Zenith's prestige. Their words weren't just insults. They were weapons meant to dismantle her legacy before it could fully bloom. Amara stood, her presence commanding the room. "You mistake my silence for weakness," she said, her voice steady but laced with fire. "This company isn't your birthright, it's a responsibility. And I've earned my place here." She turned to the digital screen, pulling up data she'd spent months preparing. With surgical precision, she dismantled their arguments. Zenith's profits had soared under her leadership, new markets opened, and employee morale was at an all-time high. The brothers' plan, she revealed, relied on outdated strategies and risky investments that would gut the company's core. The shareholders shifted uncomfortably. Ethan's smirk faded as Amara laid bare their financial missteps, failed ventures, tax evasions, and a trail of ethical violations. She'd done her homework, uncovering truths the Wentworths thought buried. "You don't get to lecture me on legacy," she said, her eyes locking onto theirs. "Legacy isn't inherited, it's built. And I've built mine on results, not privilege." The room erupted in murmurs. Caleb tried to interrupt, his face red with fury, but Amara pressed on. She shared her vision, a Zenith that empowered its workers, diversified its reach, and stood as a beacon of progress. Her words weren't just a defense, they were a rallying cry. One by one, shareholders nodded, their confidence in her growing. The boardroom, once a battlefield, became her stage. The turning point came when Amara revealed a final card, a whistleblower's testimony exposing the Wentworths' attempts to manipulate Zenith's stock for personal gain. The evidence was damning, their credibility shattered. Ethan's voice cracked as he tried to deflect, but the room had turned. The shareholders voted overwhelmingly to reject the takeover, cementing Amara's leadership. In the aftermath, the Wentworths' empire crumbled. Their reckless schemes unraveled under scrutiny, and their influence in the corporate world waned. Amara, meanwhile, became a symbol of resilience. She didn't just save Zenith, she redefined it, proving that leadership isn't about pedigree but purpose. Her story spread, inspiring countless others who'd been told they didn't belong. As she stood at the boardroom window that evening, the city lights glittering below, Amara felt the weight of her journey. She hadn't just won a battle, she'd rewritten the rules of the game. The Wentworths had underestimated her, but they weren't the first, and they wouldn't be the last. What mattered was her refusal to break, her courage to stand tall. In that moment, Amara knew her legacy wasn't just Zenith's success, it was the door she'd opened for those who'd come after her. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.